Hi friends, I'm going to show you how to make another Valentine's card. This one is going to be actually a Vinegar Valentines, and I'll explain what that is a little further in the video. So I'm going to use one of our 5x4 cardstock that we had cut from the previous project, and I decided I'm going to put it in the A2 envelopes like we did before, but I want to watercolor the cardstock before I do anything else because I want to make a pink heart. So I'm going to use some of my travel watercolor paints. I use the Viviva brand of watercolor sheets. They're very portable and they're kind of nice to use. Um, and so I'm just going to lightly brush these on a wet technique, which means wetting the paper first and then adding the watercolor onto it. Now keep in mind this is not watercolor paper, so it's not going to absorb the same way as watercolor paper would. You can always do your cards on watercolor paper, or at least the heart, and cut it out. That's up to you. In this tutorial I'm just continuing using regular cardstock. Now I'm going to decide what I want to put on this. I think there was a girl. Okay, so I'm gonna fold this card in half. And a quick way of doing this, where did my pen go, is if you fold it in half, if you want to get a symmetrical heart, you can just do the curve of the heart like that. Let me try to zoom this. Okay, kind of something we learn when we're in elementary school, and I'm going to just cut along the line that I created. And these are fun because you can actually do it with your kids. All right, so we have a simple heart and we have a heart cutout that we can use if we wanted to use it for something else. All right, so my idea with this is that I'm probably going to use that on top of another piece of our 3x5. Let me just cut off that little black edge that I could still see my pen mark. Okay. All right, and then I think this card, I want to add some lace to it. So I just want to see if I want to add the lace to that, or if I just want to add lace to the actual card. Now this lace it's got a string, so it's, you know, stitched in, so it gives it that curve, but I'm pretty sure if I can find the string I can cut it so I can stretch it out. There we go. You just can cut right in there, and that way you can straighten out the lace if you don't want it to be curved. Or you could just pull it and you hear it pop. Okay, so let's see. I think I want to glue, maybe I want to glue the lace here. This down. using my cheaper brush and my matte gel. Now this has a lot of holes in it, the lace, so it's going to be a little tricky. I want to use a lot of matte gel. And then I want to put it over to see if this is going to work. I might have to glue gun it, but I don't want to have to glue gun it. You see, I'm putting a lot, and then I'll trim the excess afterwards. But I think the best thing to do in this situation now is to take it and dry it with my blower so that it sticks. Okay, so I am working on the composition. I can decide to glue it this way, or I can flip it around if I don't want to see the seam, and glue it this way and then just trim that off. So I haven't decided that yet. But I cut and trimmed this guy out, Mr. Crochet Man. And I want to use this antique ad from a farmer's almanac of a ring. So I'm going to cut that out and see how I would position it. Now I want to tell you that I was reading on some of the history of Valentine's Day, and some of the cards that they would give out were called Vinegar Valentines, which, you know, vinegar is sour. And so these would be funny cards that people would give to each other. Either a man would give it to a woman, almost making fun of her, or a man would give it to another man, making fun of him. And then it became like a thing that people would give each other Vinegar Valentines, which were like funny Valentine cards. So I don't know if this one's gonna be like a Vinegar Valentine's, like, will you be my Valentine, or you're just worth $5.98. I don't know. But that would be funny. And I also find it funny this guy's wearing a crochet sweater, but so just trying to figure that out. I'm gonna trim it out, and remember, your pack is gonna have different people and different ads, so you have to just think about how you could incorporate those if you want to make these Valentine cards. All right, so I cut out the ring. There's the ring. And this could be like, will you be my Valentine? I can write it there. Or will you be mine? And it's like a cheesy proposal. Yeah, let's go with a cheesy proposal. So I'm going to glue him down first with my gel medium. And I think I want him to stick a little bit out of the heart. Probably shouldn't have. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Let me take some of that gel medium off. And then I want to position the ring, because I want to put "Will You Be Mine" somewhere here. Put a little bit of gel medium onto this. Feels like newspaper texture. Will you be mine? And my crochet sweater. And let's see, we could put it like that. Let's see what else I can do. So I also had this little daisy that I think I'm gonna glue right here, but I'll probably glue that afterwards. So one idea that I just had is, in your pack, you might have some vintage flowers drawn or vintage illustrations. And I thought it would be cool if I take just a black marker and I do some doodles. So let me just get a black marker. And I'm just gonna kind of create, I'm gonna use this as my reference, and I'm just gonna create some doodles in the background. So just very free-flowing, kind of like stems. Some of this will be covered up by your actual heart, but that's okay. Just doing different lines that would be like stem lines. And I'm gonna kind of, I don't know if you could see this, but I'm gonna kind of copy the design on this flower a bit. So let me just see if you could see that. I'm not gonna overthink it too much. You just kind of want to give it that sketchy look. Maybe put some leaves. Even though some of these will be covered. Let's see if I can kind of want to make them kind of off the page. You know, you're not looking necessarily at the flower, you're looking at the shapes that the flower makes. And you can do some shadow or hatching in the center, whether that gets covered or not, you know. Just doing this very quickly, just to get the general idea. Just a little bit more. Don't want to overthink it though. I could make the flowers more detailed if I wanted to. Once I glue it down, and I'm just re-outlining the petals. And then let's just see how this would look with a little bit of a pink wash. A very light pink wash. All right. The pink is too close to that pink, so I think I'm going to use a different pink, or I have burgundy here to give it a darker. Let me see. I just want a different tone. That's my dog barking at the people cutting the grass outside. I still think it's too much of the same color pink, so I'm going to try to pull some red watercolor out. Let me go get my red. Because I don't want it to be the same red. I mean, the same pink. So this is more of a red. It's called Scarlet. And this one is from the Viviva. They have these watercolor palettes that are small on cork. Also good for traveling. But instead of paper, they're actually little watercolor. I'm not sure what that's called. I just want a little bit of contrast of the red being different from this pink. Okay. I'm tempted to put some green in for the leaves. Let's see. It's gonna look like purple. But I think if I add that green into the red, it's just gonna darken the red. I just want to change the background a little bit so it doesn't look so much like the heart. So it's like muting it, which is fine. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so I've dried it somewhat. It's a little bit muted. I am not going to glue him yet. I'm going to, I think, trim, just holding it and trim the excess lace that I don't need. Remember, you should have some lace that comes in your Blast from the Past Baggies. I'm trying to use the different laces in there. All right, now I think I want to outline the heart. So I'm going to take and put this aside and carefully outline the heart. This is why it's good when you have some paper on the background, because you don't have to worry about it getting on your table. I think I want a thicker edge. I have a brush pen. These brush markers. This one is a Copic multi-liner black brush stroke. I'm just gonna run this along the edge carefully. This outline will make the heart pop a little bit more. You don't need to do this. It's easier if you turn the heart as you go. Trying to get it to the edges. So if you get it on the table, if you have a piece of paper, it'll be on the paper underneath. You don't have to worry about cleaning up your table afterwards. I sometimes use these discard papers that by the time that I finish with them are full of paint and stuff into the junk journals that I make for my shop. And people can use the different designs underneath to create something new. All right, I'm just making sure there's no pink showing through on the edge. I don't think I want to outline him, so I'm going to leave it as is. And now he sticks out more. I could take some white. Do I have white? I could take a white jelly pen or Uniball and outline that later. I'm going to do it later because right now this is still wet. The next thing I want to do is take my thin marker and I want to write the Valentine's Day sentiments. So I can practice on my paper. Will you be mine? It's funny if the person's name is Will or Wilhelmina. Or you could put something funny. Actually, it would be funny if I put I love you this much, because, and then I could stick that $5.98, that's how much this ring was. And then it could be a Vinegar Valentine. See, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to turn this one into a Vinegar Valentine. $5.98. So I think that will be funny. Adding a little bit of glue. Simulated diamonds, that's what it says. Okay, so it's gonna be I love you this much. So now I'm just going to, I'm not really good with very fancy handwriting. Some of you maybe. I'm not. I was about to use the brush pen, which would have made a mess. So this one is a Zig Cartoonist Mangaka 05. This came with my Inktober kit from Viviva that I got this past year in 2022, actually, in 2022. So I'm going to write that. I love you this much. So I love you this much. And you could put an arrow, or you could just leave it like that. You could actually give this to your loved one, and if they have a sense of humor, they will think it's funny. Like my husband has a good sense of humor, so he would not be insulted. He would think this is funny. I'm just dotting my letters. This is as creative as my letters get. All right, I love you this much. Wow, $5.98. Woohoo! All right, so remember, now we're gonna go and glue this. Lift up the card a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get just a little piece of my leftover cardstock that I had thrown in the trash, actually. And I'm gonna put a little tape and make it like a little accordion, just because I want to pop it a little bit. Tape the accordion just right down there. Fold it back up. And now I'm gonna put the gel medium on the top here. And I'm going to position the card and hold it in place. You can see it kind of pops out a little bit. Now you want to make sure that your card is holding up in all the places. And if you want to do more designs to your flowers, you can. You can also, you see how the back of it got slightly, I don't want to say damaged because it's an original, so it kind of, you could tell the person receiving it that it was handmade. But you could stick another piece of 3x5 just right over it, and you can write on that, and that can make it clean if you wanted to do that. Another option would be to cut another longer piece and fold it and then glue the card on top, so it's a folding card. Let me actually show you what I mean by that. Okay, so what I was saying is you could just take your cardstock, another piece, and you could fold it in half and kind of like measure this to where you want it and cut around it, and you would have a folding card. Keeping in mind that we wanted to use these A2 envelopes. So I'm going to do that just for our purposes so you could see what I'm talking about. Let me get a pencil this time, not a pen, so that I can erase what I need to. Remember to make the line underneath the lace. Okay, I'm going to cut it. I wouldn't cut it all the way to the lace. I would cut it under the lace so that the lace can stick out of the card. Okay, this is extra. So now I have, this is another option. And if you cut it to size, it should fit exactly. So I'm going to glue it now. I'm going to put some gel medium. Like I said before, you can use Modge Podge, Elmer's glue. You might have to, in some cases, water it down a little bit depending on what you're gluing. Just be careful that you don't glue this card to your bottom paper. All right, line it up. I would line it up before I squish down, and then hold it down. You might want to weigh it down over something overnight so that it's really, just make sure that that you could still open it. If you have any glue in here, try to remove it with a little bit of water and fabric, like a little towel, and you could put wax paper inside and then weigh it down so that way these two don't stick. But I'm noticing like right here I need more glue, so I'm just gonna carefully take that. You could always weigh it down open overnight, meaning like this. And let's see if it's going to fit in our A2 envelope, because I'm not sure. Maybe it's going to be too bulky now. Get it together, girl. Make sure it's really dry, because if not, it's going to, you see right here, it's picking up. I have to cut that edge a little better. All right, it'll work. It'll work. So somebody's going to open this up, pull it out, and I love you this much. Oh, $5.98. So this would be called a vinegar card, a Vinegar Valentine. And I just make sure you trim whatever you need to trim so it doesn't catch on the edge of the envelope. You don't want the person taking it out to actually accidentally rip it. All right, and so now we have that one. So this is the finished Valentine's. I want to thank you for watching, and if you decide to do one, I'd love to see your Vinegar Valentine. You can send me your photo at on my Instagram to Journal for the Journey. Thanks so much. Have a great day.